Hello to our friends and family. Welcome to A Tribe Called Dhillon podcast. I'm Angie Dhillon.
And I'm Rose Dhillon.
And I'm Alvin Dhillon.
And if I can ask you to please hit that subscribe button and follow us on all of our social channels. If you're not supporting A Tribe Called Dhillon podcast, we would love your support so that we can grow our family a little bit bigger. And then when we get bigger, you're going to join on the journey with us and we're going to do some great things together. Okay, we're going to get into our Win of the Week segment and I want to make it kind of fun. Let's do rock because I always just go over to Al, over to Rose. So let's do rock, paper, and scissors. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Wow!
Scissors.
I got you.
Cutting things up.
I got you. Okay, we got to do it again now.
Remember that cut?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, I cheated. I did.
Yeah,
I saw
you waited till the last minute. I thought,
I think listeners and viewers are starting to get to know you a little bit here.
Yeah. I'll just go.
Okay,
Just
go.
go.
Okay, because this is actually a really cool one. I was driving around town and I saw this pink and purple SUV next to me, and like Barbie pink and purple, right? And I look over and I was like, wow, this person's pretty bold for using those colors. And I look over and it goes, police. And I'm like, wait, what? And I see a policeman in the driver's seat. And I'm like, that's interesting. And then a week later, I saw another pink. So I want to go into that county sheriff's department and find out why they did it. But they're rocking a bunch of these police cars in a bright pink and bright purple color.
they're probably trying to change how
I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking is the perception that we have of them, the dark blue, the dark black. Blue, yeah, let's maybe lighten up because they really are inspired by Barbie's movie. It's hot pink in the front and hot purple in the back.
So the county's win is your win?
Yeah. Because I got happy seeing that. I was like, oh, that's cool. A pink car with purple.
It
I was
almost
like,
brought your guard down, right?
Totally.
You're like, oh,
and I almost waved at the cop because I was like, oh.
So what are you trying to say, like to the county police? Like, I see you.
I see you
in the pink.
I see you with the hot pink. I think the idea, as Al said, lightening it up, the colorful.
Trying to change their narrative.
There's a whole thing of they want to change the hospital colors, the high school colors, because they're dark and it doesn't really embody this kind of laughter or positive energy, but color does. Like, remember that elementary school I took you guys to? How colorful that was? Yeah. Right. Everything was so red and pink and green. So
I think that's very interesting because I know the town and the county and the city that you live in. And I'm not going to say it because I want to say a little bit of hillbilly town and right in there. But I can't see them rocking this or that. I think this might be a pilot project and I think it's going to get squashed.
No, and I'm totally going to go in and be like, keep doing this. I like it.
So when you see Rose at every council meeting in the state, that state, we're going to know what's happening.
We're like, let's get more hot pink cars going.
Getting signatures.
It's going to be that episode of Modern Family where Rose out
I got
soliciting.
3 solid signatures. They were my tribe members.
But Rose can't do that because we just did the For Thou Shall Not Preach episode.
Right, but like you're saying, if they decide to get rid of them, I have to stand on the team that says, no, don't get rid of them. Because literally I saw it was so happy. I looked over and I smiled. And then I went like this and I put my hand down because I'm like, wait, it's a cop.
I'm convinced that
would you still be smiling after that police officer gave you a speeding ticket in his pink car?
Yeah.
Like it came from a pink
Maybe
car,
the
so
blow
it's not
was
so
not
bad.
as heavy because it's like, it was in a pink car.
I'm convinced that's got to be a pilot project.
Yeah,
I can't see police officers, especially men, driving around in a pink SUV or anything related.
Maybe
pink.
it makes their mood lifts it because it lifts. I can guarantee it lifts your mood. You see this car,
I think
you're going to be like
whole perception thing. That's just that when they're approaching somebody, someone sees a pink car, your guards are down. And
Yeah.
that's a police. It just makes you think differently. It comes to, the police are coming. You get nervous, like you're going to the border.
Okay, let's pull the one guy that we have on the table. Would you drive a pink car or pink SUV?
pink and purple.
Not my choice. Like if it's my own money, I would never do that to my own vehicle. But if I'm a police officer and I'm of service to people, I'd say this is going to help my image by like people aren't going to be hostile towards me when I approach them and knock yourself out.
But no, the question is, regardless of your title, would you drive around in a pink SUV or
but
car?
you can't put that in the same because that's not the same concept. It's not a personal. It wasn't a personal choice. This is they have a big issue with the people. People are afraid of the police. What the police are doing all the time. There's a big gap with people trying to defund the police, so they're trying to change their image. I get that.
Disagree.
I think this is a good happy medium of them saying, "Hey, we'll meet you guys halfway."
When there's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I have no problem wearing pink anytime because we're helping a cause.
Yeah, or for International Bowling Day, the color is pink. Yeah. But here's my thing. So you're telling me a force of authority is going to come out with this guns, walkie-talkie out of a pink SUV or car, and all of a sudden it's all rosy and cheeks when he's writing your ticket. BS.
No, I think my thought process is maybe coming out of this idea of like minimizing the fear, because people start to get really anxious. Remember, so anxious people meaning anxious people, we know this doesn't work. But if you come from maybe a calmer energy, and then that person seeing it as it's going to have a different conversation. Yeah. I think the state of Colorado started doing this, where when a police officer's called to a scene, they actually take a counselor with them. Instead of going in guns blazing, they're starting to come in saying, okay, maybe we can talk this person out of whatever situation is happening. Yeah. So I think certain colors invoke a certain emotion in us.
100%.
So for me, pink, purple, the light blues, those nice colors, they would invoke a really kind of
and if you look at it from a perspective of a person of color, which we are, but in the States, you have a big problem with police officers targeting colored people. Like the stats, you can't lie. So that, I think, right off the bat helps the people, their image out. Because
I agree.
Now the person of color that they think they're coming after, they might just be a little bit like, oh, maybe this officer
but now
maybe
they're going to target today. People of color with a color
right off the bat. How can you get upset at pink? Like, oh, you're kind of like, okay, it's not black.
It's
not intimidating.
I loved it.
It's not an intimidating color.
But now
it's not an intimidating color. That was it. No. Literally, Angie, I put my hand up. I was going to wave at it, and then I was like, oh.
But they're going to target people of color with color now?
Well, the dark blue is still color.
No, I understand, but I just think even for me, being a female, I will wear pink shoes, pink shirt, I'll have a pink bag, but I'm not driving a pink car.
I thought it was really cool. I actually wanted to drive it. It looked really cool because they had it half and half, right? Half pink and half purple, and the way it kind of overlapped one another. It was really cool.
All right, let's move on from your win. So great. Okay, great. So
it was my win that Anne tried to hijack. It is my win. I thought it was cool. No, I don't want that win. And I like colors because they
that might have been your win,
emotions.
But that was like definitely lost for Ange.
Yeah.
Really upset over there.
I got confused by that. I'm like, what are you trying to do? She's the one
protesting out there. My taxpayers' money is going to paint your car.
Okay, let's go to you for your win.
Mine was kind of a unique win. I guess it's a win where it's a somewhat of a win. I guess I had like a reflection moment last week. Generally happens when the weather gets crappy. That's when you just sit there and start thinking about your thoughts. But I was outside and I was like, it was a good day for sugar, but a bad day for me. I let the sugar win that day. And I started having some moments. I'm like, why do I keep doing this to myself? Why is the sugar controlling me so much that I crave it? I don't want it in the daytime, but as soon as I've had dinner, I want it. And I'm going to eat like a chocolate bar and maybe possibly some more candies. And then I know I'm going to feel like crap the next day. And then I'm going to do it again. And I had a reflection moment. And the answer came out, I don't know why.
When Al told me, he said he sat with himself for 30 minutes in solitude and just pondered over this. And I was like, you should be really proud because there are stats right now showing that people can't sit with themselves for more than a minute or two. They have to be fully distracted at all times of the day. So it takes a great amount of internal strength to sit with it. And I do this all the time. I that's one of my great tools that I go to is I sit with myself in solitude daily because I think it's really empowering. So I thought that was a really great win that you were able to do that.
I didn't even realize that was the win. I was just like, oh, okay, well, I wonder why I'm thinking about this. But I just thought about it. Well, at least I got myself thinking now. But obviously it's other traumas or whatnot that I'm not actually dealing with, and I'm using the sugar and the weed, whatever, to suppress it. So it's a journey.
Well, good for you. At least you're understanding and making connections to what is it with sugar.
Making the connections.
But sometimes I ask questions like, what are we really doing on this planet? Like, what are we supposed to be doing? Like, it's already hard enough living in our own body, in our own mind, and all these thoughts we're always trying to do. But then you got to go and work, and knock on wood, we don't have any kids, but like imagine having the kids, a lifestyle, like you're in a hamster wheel nonstop. And especially this day and age with the cost of living so high and wages stagnant, like people are struggling, and most of them have the debt that they have to spend a certain amount of month because you have the kids and whatnot. You just put that on a credit card, put that on a line of credit, do that, and you're in this cycle, and you get to that point, you're just like, what are we doing? And just trying to figure that out.
But I think what you realize is a lot of people actually don't do this pondering out where they stop, and the hamster wheel for them is a normal cycle of life, and they just keep going through it. It's usually people who spend time with themselves and reflect on life and then realize, I don't want to be on a hamster wheel. Yeah,
like I don't want the sugar controlling me every day. Like, why is it like I can't stop the sugar? And if I do, like, I had a good break, you guys come over, we're going to have sugar today. I'm like, I just went like a day without it. And as soon as I have it, that cycle is going to start again. And it's going to be like weeks of like sugar every day.
But we all decide we're going to do better now because we've got
we all say
6 weeks before Christmas, and we should lay off.
Yeah, because Christmas month, you're going to go crazy. But It is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
I got 2 wins. So the first win is I went for an amazing walk this morning, feeling really good. And I was like just smiling for no reason, which means I enjoy my own company. I'm loving who I am, and I don't need anyone to make me feel happy. I'm happy. So that was a great, great aha moment for me. And the second one is that I laughed at myself so hard because I went back and watched our confessionals from the Sugarholic,
I laughed so hard.
and the Shopaholic episode. And I laughed at myself. I wasn't even embarrassed by the content because it was all true. I had to own everything. But I love the fact that we just owned it.
Yeah.
Right? We were so authentic and so real. I was like, oh, Ange, I'll just shame you.
Yeah, Al shamed you, but you handled like a champ.
I sure
girl.
did. And I was like, especially the part where I said like, that's another thing. I'm going to watch my likes. I noticed I say like too much, but I noticed in that episode, I said something like, no 40-year-old has any business owning a giant life-size teddy bear. And there probably are so many 40-year-olds that probably do. Yeah. So power to you, sister.
Some people, that's their friend.
Yeah.
Ted is a friend to people.
True. But yeah, that I laughed so hard that it was actually very therapeutic for me. And I just thought, whatever. My dirty laundry.
I laughed at that episode so hard. I was so happy.
I was curious to know what factory is producing this and what did it look like in that factory when the person is sitting here stitching up a gigantic bear that's bigger than the worker, and then they don't know how to transport it in a giant truck and only hold 5 bears. And I just didn't understand it.
Shout out to Costco, because Costco has those giant size teddy bears.
Of course they do.
Everything at Costco is giant size.
Yeah, and everything is life size.
That makes sense now. That's where you got it from.
I sure did.
I pondered a lot about that episode, and I was like, wow, Ange really was a real life hoarder.
Yep.
But you broke the cycle, so you should be really proud of yourself.
And I also broke the cycle. I actually have 3 wins now. So sorry, I'm gonna like really just start owning my wins now. This is a really proud one. After watching that episode, because I do still like Al, we're sugarholics. I am so proud to say that I have no more sugar left. I took a lot of my little candies and things that I would have, even like the little Kit Kat. Halloween is coming up. And I just went and took it all. No, I took it into the office and I just gave them out to everybody, and I just put them near the main lunchroom area in our kitchen. And I'm not going to lie, 20 minutes later, it was all gone. I have literally nothing. And now I have really programmed myself that my cheat day is just a Saturday. So I can pick whether it's in the afternoon or in the evening. I'm going to give myself a treat, but I have 1 day out of the week and I can be very military with myself and stay disciplined. So I'm proud to say that. And what I've also noticed is that now that I've cut the sugar, I'm not as bloated on my face, because before, sugar causes inflammation.
I was gonna say that's why I feel bloated, because
it dries your skin out.
And I noticed a couple of photos, and when we went to some events over the summer, I'm like, why does my face look so fat? Or, why do I look puffy? And then I realized, I'm like, oh yeah, you were doing 7 days of sugar eating. So now that I've cut that down, and of course it helps with weight loss, but I've noticed that I'm a little more chiseled now.
And the skin looks nicer.
If we can make sugar good for you, the world would be a better place. Sugar is amazing. It's everywhere. Everyone does. It's the one thing you go to someone's house, anywhere you go, it's always like tea and biscuits. No one drinks their tea or coffee without any sugar in it. Some people do, but it's rare.
In the new year, I'm on a quest to make healthy treats. So like I make smoothies a lot, like blueberry.
And your smoothies are really good.
So guess what? I'm going to make those into popsicles.
Ooh.
Yeah. Look, don't make a face. They're so good.
Or make some like
this is what's wrong with the world. This is what's wrong with the world.
A kale spinach popsicle? I think that's going to be so good.
I'll try it. I'm down.
Okay, so I feel today's episode is super timely because I'm wearing a turtleneck and we're going to be talking about something interesting, but it is fall here in our beautiful province of British Columbia. It's cold in Vancouver and sweater season's out, but I'm also feeling a little under the weather. So hence why I will probably start rocking my cardigans. But today's episode is connected to a topic that we're going to talk about, and I am fully dressed to the occasion for this one. We're talking about the rise of sexuality and the death of modesty. Ooh. And I think, have we just become a really sexual world now? Like no one's wearing clothes anymore. What? My upbringing doesn't match today's society. Am I the only one that feels that way?
I'm at that crossroad with you are too, where I'm seeing more and more women unfortunately lead with lack of clothing. And so even on my LinkedIn, like there's women who are trying to tell women to like empower them in their career. And I'm like, but why do you have to tell me this in a bikini? Like, why couldn't you tell me this in a business suit? Like, she's like, do the job and get up there, but she's naked lying in some fancy mansion, it looks like. And I'm like, I feel like the message is lost. But that could just be me. I am very moderate.
Yeah. And we were raised very conservative.
Very
right?
conservative.
Our mom was very strict with us growing up.
Yep.
Our wardrobes, our attire.
Our dad too. And I think our dad's, I think dad wanted us to lead with our mind. He didn't want us to attract people with just sexuality. He really wanted us to be more empowered as women to think things through, which I really appreciate. Now that we're, Yeah,
I mean, we didn't grow up painting nails, hence why we don't do that.
Never paint our nails. They're so bad.
I would like to go do that. But then now I'm like, the cost of it. I'm like,
I know.
It's okay. Never mind. I put that money in my RRSPs.
Yep.
But yeah, we didn't have we weren't allowed to wear makeup till we got to a certain age, especially our clothing. Our mom would pick a lot of it. And then when we got to a certain age, and especially for me still now, when I buy things and there's a certain level of cleavage showing, or, if there's the chest, I go to my tailor and we like crank it up like up to here. And she'll even say to me, no one wears it like that. I'm like, I don't care. I'm a little old fashioned and I am quite modest with the way that I dress. And I always say that, leave some things to the imagination. So Al, what's your take on this? What's going on? Like, do you feel that the way sexuality is portrayed in today's media and pop culture, like, has it changed from 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely increased. And especially with social media and technology being at your tip of your fingers. I just find when I look at it as a guy, there's two things I look at as a straight guy. I say, wow, that chick is so hot. Who doesn't want to look at it like a naked girl? But then the other side is like, okay, now I've saw that. You haven't got me thinking anything else about you as far as like, are you a smart person? Are you empowering women? Or I find you physically attractive, but mentally attractive. I won't be able to even get to that point because I'm just mesmerized by seeing you naked or half naked. So as far as a guy's thinking is, I can only speak for myself, but that's how guys will get distracted right off the bat. And when I hear women always saying, oh, you should embrace your sexuality. Totally, I get that. But if, let's say you have 100 posts or 100 videos that you put out there, and 80 to 85% of all those videos, you're trying to put out a good message, but you've intentionally, in every single one of those videos, you've been either naked or the camera's an angle where you're just showing me a tit. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, how am I supposed to listen to your message when all I see is your titties? And you want to tell people, look, women, you need to, don't let guys bring you down. But you're not empowering you're now, if you had a daughter or your child, you're telling your child, oh, if you want to go the easy route, you want to get their attention, just show them your chest and show them a little bit of that, and they'll start paying attention. All we're paying attention to is your body. And I'm just saying is, oh, wow, she got a nice body. I'm not listening to anything else. But if you make me actually listen to you, you're going to cover yourself up a little bit for whatever the video that you're trying to sell and tell me the information that you're trying to tell me. And I will actually probably pay attention to it. I'll still find you beautiful, but I'll say, oh, wow, she's beautiful and smart. She's got a little bit more up there. But as soon as you start taking off your clothes, how are you trying to tell me that this is the message I'm trying to send out there when all I see is just you naked? To me, it's like the cheap route of getting people's attention. Like, it's just the easy route. It's like for guys, when you see these music videos, right off the bat, you'll see the standard. It's like a formula. Bring out the half naked girls, bring out the drugs and the booze, bring out everyone smoking weed, bring out all the cars, bring out the money. Make sure you throw money around. You're like, this is the same old thing. The song is good, but the video is the same old. And you kind of lose your attention, and you're not listening to the message anymore. So whenever I see these women like on Instagram, and it's like, sure, you want to go out and you want to take pictures of yourself half naked, great, knock yourself out. But if that's what 80 to 90% of your social media page is, then that's what you're catering to. You can't expect people to want more from your page when this is what you're giving us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't get mad when you're getting bombarded with male comments and male DMs.
Yeah.
You can't get mad.
If I was a dad, as a father, would I want my kids at like 14, 15 going out there with almost no clothes on and say, make sure every man out there respects you and shows you 100% respect? To me, I look like you're not respecting yourself. You're saying, no one's listening to me, so I got to take it all off, and now they'll get the attention. Now they're all looking at me. Look at me. Mm-hmm. But all I'm doing is I'm going to see is your titties and your ass. That's all I'm looking at.
But that's the thing. Sex sells, and it's easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the easy route. If you go the other way, which most of them don't want to do, you'll have more guys wanting you if you give them less, because less is more. As soon as you give it away, to me, I'm like, oh, okay, I've seen it all. Nice. Move on to the next one. Okay. But if you don't give that to the guy, you're like, okay, well, you're not going to get all of this. This isn't, you have to listen to me. I'm engaged. I'm actually listening. Like Sadia Khan, she's so attractive, but I listened to her even more because I was like, whoa, I haven't seen her naked yet, or I haven't seen her half naked. I'll wait till she gets on OnlyFans.
No, she's against all that stuff. So
because that's the problem. Like OnlyFans is like, I get it. The women are making money, but how are you making it? That's can you sleep with yourself at night knowing that, oh yeah, I have to take my clothes off today to earn $1,000? Okay.
Yeah. There's a psychological price to pay for all of this. Yeah. I think that's the sad reality that men and women on both sides don't understand is the amount of pornography that men are consuming is causing them not to go out and function in society. The amount of women realizing I can just make thousands of dollars off OnlyFans. I don't have to leave my house, or I don't have to, it's all going to have some price to pay. Yep. And I guess you just have to pick your pain and realize if that's what you want. Like Alvin said, I will piggyback off that. You're right. Is the first thing I saw when that girl had her post on it. I was reading her thing, but after I looked at her photo, and then all the comments were just guys of like, yeah, you go girl. And I'm like, did anyone read what she wrote? I don't think anyone read it, or nor did anyone take the message in, because like you're saying, I was distracted. I can only imagine what a man was feeling. And the reality is men are biologically wired different than women. They see something differently. So I know that when we say, oh, she should be able to walk around with her boobs and her legs showing and stuff. And I did this in my 20s when I used to wear short dresses. The attention I got was never what I really wanted. It was always the attention of like, oh, like they just look at your legs, but that's not.
It's just for guys, you're going to get distracted. We're not paying attention to anything else. And another thing for me is that you want to, great. If I have kids, you want to wear clothes like that. That's great. That should not be your general attire. Yeah. You're going out to the beach, you're going to do it. I'm not expecting you to wear shorts and jeans. Right. You're going to wear a bikini. Yeah. But when you're going to a family event, there's no need for you to be dressing like you're going to a nightclub. Yeah. Like it should be
time and place.
Yeah.
Right?
You need to understand like, these are uncles, these are men. We're still men at the end of the day, but they're going to start drinking. They're going to get distracted and they're going to just keep looking at you and they're going to stare at you like, oh, look, it's just a natural thing to go to. Like, she's not wearing any clothes. Let's stare at this girl. And they're going to be, oh, look at these guys. They keep staring at me. Well, you came here with no clothes on. What did you think was going to happen?
Right.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I've been to strip clubs before. I enjoyed it, but I also felt bad. I was like, I wonder what kind of trauma they've been through. Because I see that the amount of money they're making, but I'm like, man, like they got to come here and they got to, it's not easy dancing up and down that pole and doing what they do, but you feel bad for them.
I do too.
And you're like, well, I don't know how to fix this problem, but guys are hardwired one way. They're always going to get a certain amount of income from guys by just taking your clothes off. So I don't know who's right, who's wrong here.
That's what I mean. I think, Ange, if you want to add to it, there's a price to pay for that. Yeah. And for me, I come from a very, like, I don't like the word when people say slut or those kind of derogatory, or she's, the H word. It's really like understanding that person has a lot of trauma that leads them to live a life of being like, it's usually, and they say the stats are showing that usually those women have been sexually assaulted at a very young age, or that they view it in a different way. I was listening to a podcast of a gentleman who was saying he had a couple of porn stars, I guess you're saying, on his podcast. And he was like, it was like the soul was gone from their eyes. He's like, both genders, the male and the woman, they were just here and it was like lifeless that I couldn't even kind of get through to them to figure out what was really going on because they just were like zombies.
Yeah, I think it's because sex is supposed to be such a private thing and they turned it into, especially with porn, they turned it into a big open platform. But I think there's also a place for that because there's a lot of men out there that if they don't have an outlet for some sort, they're the predator type of men. Right. They're going to be out there raping people and sexually assaulting people any chance they get. But if they have some sort of like porn to go watch it and release themselves, they're like, okay, I kind of like calm myself down a little bit. Like men are just like very predator mentality like that. So it's just one of those topics where like, I get it, but I don't get it. Like if you want people to respect you and you're saying, I don't want them judging me, then guess what? You maybe should keep some of your clothes on when you're trying to say that post or put that information out there. But as soon as you like decide to take your clothes off and say, this is what's going to get me more likes, get me more shares, that will happen. But guess who will be your majority of your platform? It's going to be guys. That's going to be, and it'll be like perverted guys that are just like, I just want to watch you naked. Like there's a few girls I used to follow on Instagram too. The Indian girls, absolutely beautiful, but they're always half naked. So I was like, I'm almost like, I can't unfollow you because I was like, I want to see next week how much more clothes you take off. I was like,
but that's
because it's so frowned upon in the Indian culture, right? Like women, they don't do that. So when you see an Indian girl doing that, and she's like 25 years old, she's beautiful, and you see her numbers just going up, and you're like, whoa, this is like, she's smoking hot.
You know, my question for those girls is when they turn 40, I'd like to interview them and ask them, how do you feel? I can almost regret, it's like tattoos, right? Every time you meet a person who's over 40, they're always like, yeah, what's regret getting those tattoos? Regret. I think the women who are leading with that sexuality, my gut tells me when you get older and wiser, you regret that.
It's just so surface level. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You're not going anything deeper. Yeah, there's no depth. It's just surface level. And for any guy that wants a beautiful girl, if there's nothing more beyond that, you're going to get bored very easily. And the same goes with women too. They're going to go after the guy that, oh, he's super jacked, he has money. But if there's no other depth beyond that, you're going to get bored.
You get what you get. Once you get what you need from them, you'll move on. Yeah. Ange, what do you got to say? We've been
No, it's okay. You two are obviously passionate about this. I brought it up just because I'm seeing so much of this out there now. It's like the minute you turn on commercials now, right? It's always, you see someone like in a bikini or a two-piece. It's become the norm. You watch a reality show. All these young girls are wearing crop tops now, or their shorts are like basically like you can probably see their butt cheeks from them. It's so much. And I think that essence and the substance of being who we are is lost in translation when you are revealing and showing everything. And this is how naive I am that I didn't understand. One of our friends was talking about something and they're like, everyone's going to do the BBL stuff. Everyone's going to do this BBL stuff. And I was like, what's BBL? What kind of acronym is that? And it stands for the Brazilian butt lift. And I'm like, this is such a thing now, because the way I was raised is like, if you ain't got a butt, if you ain't got nothing, you ain't got booties, so be it. But we're in a society.
Find something else that you can.
But we're now in a society where, it's about booty and bubbas, right? Yep. It's like bubbies and booties. And that seems to be the trend right now, that everybody wants to have big bubbies. Big bubbies is like big, large breasts and butts. Everyone wants to have that big butt. And I'm just confused at what message as women are we portraying to the younger generation? Because I didn't start wearing makeup till I was probably about 19 or 20. And even then it was just an eyeliner and lip gloss. And these young children today, these young girls today wearing so much makeup at 15, 16. I'm like, girl, please stop. Because by the time you hit 25, 30, your skin is just going to not be the way it was. That elasticity and that youthfulness is going to be gone. But I'm a big believer in modesty and just not revealing the goods to everyone.
Yeah. And it's just a time and place, but there's also like a moderation. Like, great, girls should be able to wear whatever they want, but you have to look at what are you putting out in the world? What you're saying you want a certain level of respect, certain way that people treat you. How are you treating yourself, and what are you putting out there to the world? Like, you don't need to be in a business attire all the time. That's not like summertime. Everyone's going to be wearing next to nothing, but it's just about what level of do you want to take this to? Is this what you're not going to say, I'm going to put on my Snapchat, or I'm going to keep putting this on there to say, oh, it's building me a following. So now I'm going to use my sexuality to keep growing my following. Now, when you grow that following, your following was built on you showing your naked self to the world. It wasn't about, oh, you know what? I was helping people along the way. I was teaching them. You were basically saying, hey, quick, easy ways to show your skin, and you're going to start rolling.
Yeah. I think the other thing is, I think we're in such a position now to influence the younger generation to lead with more positivity and lead with the mind. And sometimes children lead by example. So if their mother, or if someone in their family is dressing promiscuously, then chances are they're going to think it's okay to do that. So I think we now collectively have an opportunity to let parents know, hey, monitor your children, especially for the young girls today. Monitor the clothing, monitor when they leave. I know you can't monitor your kids 24/7 because a lot of times they're going to just go to their friend's house, change their clothes, or have a duffel bag around the corner of the lot, and then they'll grab it when they leave with their friends. But I think instilling those values in your daughter or in your children's life, especially if you have daughters, at a really young age, and letting them know to protect what they have, their innocence, and just to lead without sexuality, and just really pay attention to their friends. And you're always going to have those, promiscuous friends, or like that girl's a bad influence on my daughter. But to me, what I'm seeing now is the crop tops, the really, really short shorts. And I'm seeing young children today way. I don't know, we're not teaching them to have self-respect anymore. We're teaching them that they're a commodity, that you've got something to go and sell to the world if you take a couple layers off. But I would like to see parents just being like, our parents were honest like Donkey Kong. They still are. And I would like to see a little bit more of that, because I think it's so important. I've been to parties where friend's daughter came in like dressed, and I was like, this is like a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon, and that parent, like their parents didn't say anything, and they just let their daughter leave the house like that with a crop top and a super short and like basically like half naked to someone's house for a play date thing. And I'm like, where? And they said that their answer was like, oh, this is the generation. Everyone's dressing like this. And I was embarrassed for that child. I wanted to go find a pair of joggers and sweatpants, be like, girl, please put this on. I was embarrassed for them, but they walked in with a shitload of confidence. And I'm like, I still at this age sometimes feel shy going into an all-female gym and wearing a crop top and shorts.
There's two things to that. I think when those girls are that young, they don't realize how they're sexualized. And I don't want to teach them that young of an age, that this is how the society is, this is how men look at you, and this is how they treat you. So really having them not wear that until they get a little older, a little bit more wiser, and understand the power of their sexuality. I really do think that it's what we're disservice that we're doing to young girls by having them wear these, because their brain is not developed enough to process like, oh, like Al said, men are predators, or looking at me sexually. Oh, that like, and you put yourself sometimes in the wrong situations where things can go wrong and unfortunately happen. I'm not saying like it's a right for what men do, but like I remember being at a party and this girl came up to me and she was like, oh, all the men just keep looking at me. She's like, oh, you're doing a good job. That's exactly what they were doing. I'm like, all I see are boobs. Like I can't look at your eyes because I just see these ginormous things looking at me. So I'm a human being. My focus went there.
And there's like a certain line, like everyone knows cleavage, whatnot, but when you know it's like pretty much out there, or you're wearing completely see-through, it's any natural human being that can see, we're like, oh, I can see the nips. I'm gonna just keep staring at it. Yeah.
I was staring at it. I was like, I think I can. I think I see. And I'm a woman, and I understand. But I'm saying it's like if I couldn't get my brain to come back to focus at this present moment and hear what she's saying, because I was so distracted by this. Now imagine a man who's biologically different than me. I now have. I understand.
And whoever the people that do that, they know what they're doing when they're
not
doing
always.
That.
I think not always.
Maybe the younger girls,
they don't understand.
And they don't realize when you're 30, you know what you're doing. You've been doing this for 20 years. You know what you're doing.
I think a lot of the young girls that do have a lot of a trauma. When I say trauma, I know it's a big scope work, but I mean girls who probably didn't get a lot of attention from their parents, maybe didn't have a good fatherly role model. Because when I meet older girls, women, and that dress like this, and I kind of always like to unlayer, me, I always find out like, oh, my parents got divorced when they were like 5. I haven't seen my dad. I'm like, oh, okay. There's always something that happened.
Or if they're too strict. If your parents are too strict, and you want to rebel. Because now you're like, I can't do nothing, so I want to go out and rebel.
Yeah.
I think there's a fine line today, and social media has made it so much more easy for young girls and for women to get attention now. Like I know from all the way from 20, 30, 40, 50, even 6-year-old women are now to raise their profile and to raise their, social status on Instagram or whatever social platform. Everyone is just bearing it all and taking it all off. And I'm like, where is modesty gone and why is it dead? And even on dating apps. And
oh my God, dating apps are the worst.
We are going to
men are naked now. The world has changed.
That's what I was going to say. We have an entire episode dedicated to men. Put some clothes on. Like if your abs are not talking to me, because that is first of all a turn off the minute I see that.
It's funny because
it must be working, because if women took their clothes off, it wasn't working. Then why are they continuing to do it? It's working.
I have a friend who's on the same thing as I am, and he said to me, he was like, "Oh no, they're all the women are naked on my match." He's like, "Hey, if the women can do it, why can't the men do it?" And I was like,
"Exactly.
Shit, you got a point.
Equal rights and equal opportunities. You're not taking your clothes off. We can start taking our clothes off."
And this is this is
I'm just trying to walk around butt naked now.
That might be a thing. It's coming to a city near you. But I'm just saying, like, this is the rise of sexuality. It's too much now. Like, come on, people. Like, put some clothes on. And this is, I think, going all the way back to like, so you probably know what the oldest profession is, right? What's the oldest profession ever?
I don't know.
Prostitution.
Oh.
Prostitution is the oldest profession, going back to 1700s.
And who does that industry really only serve? The men.
Yeah. And
the women found there's a business for it. There's a need for it.
Yeah. Well, and men owned the women back then.
And now with OnlyFans, is it called OnlyFans? I don't even know. OnlyFans. That is a form of prostitution to me. You're pimping yourself out
100%
for money.
But at least they take home 100% of the proceeds.
No, they don't. I think they have to give a cut back too.
Probably to OnlyFans, but they're not answering to a pimp
So
anymore.
I wonder who owns OnlyFans. Probably a group of men.
I heard there's some women that are up there too involved.
Yeah, I've heard they're quite high up there too. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when there's money,
like
people
that lady,
will change.
What that Giselle lady, or the one that Epstein guy who passed away. Remember his partner? She was the one recruiting all the young girls.
Because she knew that women are going to be easier with women.
Yeah, she was a part of the problem.
Yeah. Okay, final question to both of you before we close off here, and we'll probably come back to this topic because this is a very debatable topic.
Yep.
Do you think social media has played a part in the rise of sexuality and the decrease in modesty?
Yes, and I say this because, like Al said, Sadia Khan is someone. She's a psychologist that I follow. I love the message that she's sending out to young women. And she's very much like you are. I see so much of you in her. And she's saying this, that men who keep liking the naked pictures, you are creating more women like this because you keep liking them. And you're telling the girls like us who are modesty, like, you don't matter. We want that. So it starts with men taking accountability. The more you like that girl who's naked in her bikini, the more you're creating those. So
I actually went and started unfollowing some of the girls, and that was hard too because I was like, oh man, this girl is absolutely stunning. And I was literally getting a free show on Instagram.
And
they have to go to a strip club and pay for it.
She was talking about how many couples have problems in their relationships is because the guy will go and like this girl's stuff, and then his girlfriend's like, oh, so you like girls that have a 6-pack with big breasts and this, and I don't look anything like that, and it obviously makes her feel insecure, and then they start a little internal war there. Why are you doing this? You're adding to the problem, not the solution.
Yeah, I know. I love Sadia Khan. I think she's brilliant. She's beautiful, and she's got, most of the time when I see her in her social episodes, she always has she's fully clothed.
Yeah,
and she's got substance.
Yep.
You're actually listening to her. She's a very intelligent woman, and I think the message that she's sending out, yes, and I think for all of us women that that play modesty, don't be afraid to that. And if we're not getting to the level of notoriety that you want, if you're on a social platform, don't worry about that, because it's just a matter of time that when that tide is going to turn, because what goes up must come down. This rise of sexuality, at some point, I think the tide is going to turn on this, when women start to realize, like, you know what, I have sold my soul to the devil, and I want out. So for me, this is we're going to come back and table this, because I have so much more that I want to talk about and get some stats on this. And Elle, so for you, I think you're loud and clear that you have started to unfollow people. That's major growth for you.
Yeah,
I feel like I want to go back and follow them again.
Oh, him a clap. Let's give him a clap.
I feel like, you know what? I could go spend my money at a strip club, or I can just go and follow this person and get like a live feed myself. So that's what a guy thinks like, right? You go to a strip club, you have to spend money there.
You're right.
There, you see them working, dancing. This one has to go sit and take one picture, and now you got like 1,000 likes.
Okay. A final to finish off. So to our young viewers, our female viewers out there, what's our message to them?
Modesty. Like Alvin said, if you want to know how men think, talk to men. Ask men, how do you view us? How do you like, if that's your goal, is to be in a relationship with a partner, have a healthy relationship, because that's really what we're really seeing all out there. To ask men, what do you think when you see them? Alvin, I think, gave he shed such great light today on today's episode of how a man biologically operates. There's no changing the biological. You can only do so much with the mind, but you can't change the internal biological wiring. And I think we're still far away from that. So really, modesty is going to be the long-term gain, like Angie said.
Yeah, I agree.
If women want to take their power back, men are physically attracted to women, right? So why don't you reduce some of that attraction and hold it in, so you can say, I want to have a message, I want to get out to people, but we're not going to listen to you if you're half naked. That's just the simple mathematics of it. But if you decide to clothe yourself even just a little bit, people are listening more.
Yeah.
Like Sadia Khan, if she had her entire message, but every time you saw her, she always had like just enough tit hanging out or just enough. Right off the bat, you're gonna listen to something. But for a guy that's listening, I'm gonna just keep going right down here, looking at that. Let me zoom in on this thing right here.
I love the honesty.
Thanks, Al. Thanks for that. So to our young viewers, to our young female viewers, you'll thank us one day.
Yes.
Please continue to go back and rewind. Well, you can't even do rewind anymore. You can play back this episode and please engrave it in your mind. We want to empower you to live your best life, and to live your best life, you got to lead with your brains. Yes. That's all I'm going to say. So to everyone out there and to our friends and family watching today's episode, we thank you for your support. We are so appreciative. We're going to be back next week. Until then, think about your win of the week. And so we can discuss it together next week. A Tribe Called Dhillon podcast is now signing off. Have a great week. Bye for now.